Hello everyone. Before we get into the actual benchmarks, let's have a look at the settings and the configuration first. We have an RX 6700 XT. This is a Sapphire Nitro Plus version. We are running it at the default settings without any overclocking. We have resizable bar enabled, as you can see. We also have the latest drivers as of the day of recording. We have an Intel Core i5-12400F CPU and 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory running at 3600 megahertz. Here we go. Today we're going to be taking a look at the performance of PUBG, and we're going to be testing it on the Radeon RX 6700 XT. So let's see. We are currently running, let's have a look at the settings first, very quick. We are running at 1920 by 1080 and we have set it to competitive settings. These are the settings if you want to use them, and let's get into the game. Alright, here we're dropping. This appears to be the area where we're actually being slightly CPU bound. As you can see, our GPU usage is not at 100%, but as soon as we hit the ground, we are going to be more GPU bound than we were in the air. We are also running at 1080p, so remember, at lower resolutions the CPU becomes a factor. As you can see, we are still CPU bound. At these settings, at these competitive settings, the game is just not that demanding on the GPU, the 6700 XT. And we're getting around 160, but this is not a really intensive area. If we get out of this building, we may see a lower performance. All right. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have a Core i5-12400F, which is not the fastest CPU for this game, but it is reasonably fast enough for a higher refresh rate experience, and most importantly, there aren't any significant stutters which would be game breaking. Oh, here we go. There's someone. Oh, wait. Oh, yes. It was a rookie mistake, my fellow. I think we should get out of here soon. All right. I'm waiting for us to get out of the building so that I can switch to higher resolutions. Alright, we finally can see out, and we are still at around 160 FPS, and our GPU is not being fully utilized still. So I think I'm going to just raise the resolution a little bit to 1440p and we'll see what happens. Alright, right now we're at 1440p and still at the competitive settings. And as you can see, we are nearly GPU bound, but still not quite completely GPU bound, as you can see. We are at around 80 to 90% GPU utilization, and we are still getting a high refresh rate gameplay over here. At the outdoor areas, if there's a lot of vegetation around, this game really hits the GPU hard. And as you can see, once we step out of the buildings and we go out to where there's a lot of vegetation or trees around, if you look at the GPU power settings, power stats on the left, you can see that we are starting to get around 170 watts of power consumption just from the GPU. Right, there's nothing here. Let's get out of here. Oh. Why is there no one around? I used to get swarmed around here. Once we've put a little bit of distance between us and the buildings, and we are finally getting pretty much fully GPU bound in these areas. And we are still getting over around 150 to like 160 FPS. Which means that if you have a RX 6700 XT and if you like to play PUBG, you're good to go pretty much. So without further ado, let's have a look if we can raise the resolution to 4K and take a look at the performance. Here we go, at the competitive settings. Alright, once we've gone to 4K, it starts to get a lot more intensive. Look at the GPU power. We're right at 180 watts and we're 100% on the GPU. But it is still a smooth experience. So pretty good. What if we went to 8K? Can we do that, do you think? I mean, we have the option. Maybe we should try. Before I do that though, I think I have to increase the size of Afterburner because it's just going to be invisible. So I'll be right back. Let's go see what happens when we change the resolution to 8K. I don't think it's going to work out great. It's not going to go down. Oh yeah. Okay. So, yeah. No one is surprised. 4 times the resolution of 4K and we are pretty much a slideshow or a cinematic experience, depending on how you want to look at it. So, there it is. There you go. I mean, it's just for fun. I don't think anyone would be trying to... first of all, I don't think there are any 8K. There are that many 8K monitors out there. And if there are, you wouldn't be driving it with a 6700 XT. You would be having a 5090 or 4090. So, I'm just going to get back to 1080p and we're going to max out the settings to see if there are any differences in terms of performance. I mean, obviously there is going to be, but how much of a difference? That's the question. So, I'll be right back once I change the settings. Alright, we're back to 1080p once again and we're just going to max out the settings. Let's put it to Ultra and see if we can increase any settings any further. We're just going to disable sharpening. It doesn't have any effect on performance and we have motion blur disabled obviously. So, if you remember, at 1080, we were, with competitive settings, we were bottlenecked. We were CPU bound. And once we've switched the settings to Ultra, we are GPU bound. But we're still getting pretty much the exact same performance. So that means that increasing the details haven't added any load on the CPU, which is good to see. Looking pretty good. so far, I think. We are getting in this area right here, we're getting over 160 to 170 FPS, which is very, very smooth. So without taking much more of your time, let's just switch to 1440 at max settings. Here we go. Right, we're at 1440p max settings, and we're getting around 130, so we didn't get a huge drop in performance even at the highest settings, which is great. We are still getting very good performance if you want to play PUBG competitively. If you want high refresh rate experience, definitely you do. This is a multiplayer game, and the 6700 XT delivers. But we have around 8.5 gigs of VRAM is being currently used, and we are 100% GPU bound. So, even though it's quite an inexpensive CPU, the 12400F is not too bad, guys. If you're looking to build a budget gaming PC, there's nothing wrong. I've been using this CPU for quite a while. So let's go to 4K again. Here we go, we have 4K running at the highest settings, and this is finally where we're going to see the benefit of running competitive settings. Because if you remember, with competitive settings we were getting close to 100 FPS, and that has dropped to around 60. And if you look at the GPU power, the third statistic on the top left, you can see that the game is at 4K, really hitting the GPU quite hard. I mean, I have never seen this card hit 190, 195 watts in a game. I mean, that was like Furmark. Running Furmark would hit the GPU that hard, but this is PUBG. And at 4K it's looking pretty sharp, it's looking very good, very beautiful. It's just a great experience. But if you have 4K, if you want to run this game with 4K, I would run this card and this game with the competitive settings that I showed you earlier. And there's another thing about the competitive settings, which means that because there are some changes to the visual aspects of the game, you can better see enemies, and that makes, finding and taking shots at other players a lot easier. So a lot of people are running the game on competitive settings, and I would too. I think the game is the matches are easier, slightly easier when you're running competitive settings. So I think that's it, guys. Thanks you so much for watching. I hope I didn't bore you too much. If you like this video, found this interesting, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel.